class, and what we're going to start now is about depression. And in A2 psychology, what you're going to understand is especially abnormal psychology. Every single disorder that you study is going to either have a test behind it, and what are the tests for depression, what are the tests for phobia, and whatnot. So for depression, right, your official test according to your CIE syllabus is known as the BDI. And good thing is there's an online version available, it's freely available, right? And if you cannot download it, I will provide it to you. But you need to have this in your laptop, computer, phone, whatever, or it's mandatory. All right. So how do you assess a media? How do you study questionnaires or tests from a CIE perspective? What they want you to know, what they want you to understand, and what you are supposed to write down when it comes to your exams. All right. So basically, there are a few criteria that are gonna be same for every single questionnaire that you will encounter in your syllabus from now on, whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety, whether it's phobia, every single questionnaire that you will encounter are gonna have some certain criterias that are gonna be same for all. And these criterias are, I'm gonna write them down here. Number one, number of questions. How many questions does this particular test have? Number of questions. Uh, are the questions closed ended or open-ended, or are they consisting of both, as in are they mixed? Number two, how many versions are there? Is if there only one version, you don't have to talk about it. If there are many versions, you have to talk about it. How many versions does it have? Number four, as in if it's closed-ended, what are the options on which people select the answer? For example, what's option number one, option two, option three? So you have to write the options. Uh, Number five, two example questions you have to write, or you have to memorize word for word. No paraphrasing in here, right? You have to memorize every single question word for word, right? You have to copy paste it. You cannot change any word. You cannot paraphrase it. It's very, very essential. Uh, if it is closed ended, again, if the final score you get, right? Final score you get. Let's suppose the final score is 21. Is there any indication of what the score means? As in, is there any indication of what the score means? Uh, what else? You're gonna talk about whether you're gonna talk about its test, retest, reliability. You're gonna talk about is I'm gonna explain all of this concept later on. Concurrent validity, right? But most probably, apart from that, mm, how many words in here? All right, sub skills. Is this questionnaire divided into smaller parts? If yes, what are these parts? If not, you're not supposed to answer this question. It doesn't apply to that question. Other than that, does the questionnaire give you qualitative or quantitative answer? I'm going to underline these two because these two are not required necessarily. These points you have to focus on when you go through a questionnaire or when you study a questionnaire, because these are the points that the CIE people are going to ask you. So, all right. So when we talk about back depression inventory, you're going to have to look at it from this perspective. How many questions? What are these questions? Open, close. What if closed? What are the options? If the final score comes out as that, what does the final score mean? So you need to look at that from that perspective. All right, let's find a BDI version online. That's it. Let me get it for you. All right. By the way, is there any question that people like you guys did not understand what we just discussed regarding criteria of the question, or is like clear and you guys understand what to note down when we study the questionnaires from now on? Guys, you can reply it in the chat or you can reply voice. Doesn't matter. Am I? All right. Understood, Manal. What about Ramla? You okay with whatever's being discussed? All right. So I'm gonna send you this link later on. You know what? I'm gonna send this link to you right now, so you guys can view it later on. You can copy paste it somewhere else later on. Anyways, this is the BDI online. Uh, so what you need to do, look at how many questions does it have? 1 till 21. So it has 21 items, and basically I'm supposed to select one of these items from every single question. Let's suppose from this, I'm going to select this one. From this, I'm going to select this. And every single option is going to have a numerical score besides this. For example, this is 0, or this could be 1, or this could be 0, this could be 2, this could be 3, this could be 4. So like 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So every choice has a numerical value assigned to it. And let's suppose I pick the third option. So this is 3, this is 3, and this is 3. So let's suppose I pick the third option from every single question on this uh, 21 questions. Final score is going to be 21 multiplied by 3. Whatever score I'm going to get, that's going to be the interpretation of how much depressed I am. So let's just do it randomly. Obviously, I'm not reading these answers right now because I don't have the time, but you're supposed to memorize two of these questions word for word, uh, if you can. All right, so as you can see, these are my symptoms. So 21 items. Let's suppose that my total score is gonna be around 36, and 36 means that I have severe level of depression. So in BDI, what you have is actually written in your marking scheme that if you get a score from 1 to 10, right, this is normal. 11 to 16, mild. 7 to 20 is borderline. 21 to 30 is moderate. So these are the ranges that you have to remember. As in, if my score comes out as 40, what does it mean? So BDI, Beck's depression inventory, does have meanings for every single score. So you can learn this down. It's written in your marking scheme as well. It's also in the slides that I'm going to send you later on. So it is mentioned there. Also, as I said, you need to memorize the questions as well. So the most unfortunate thing about BDI is that every single question has different options, unfortunately. Sometimes you could have those questions where options are same. For example, uh, not at all, sometimes, most of the time, always. Not at all, sometimes, most of the time, always. You have those questionnaires. That would be easy because these options are same for whatever question you might encounter. But over here, unfortunately, the questions have different options. So when I say you need to learn questions, you need to learn these options as well. Unfortunately, word for word. All right. So you see that besides these options, there's 0, 1, 2, 3. So you have to write this as well, and you need to write this as well when you're describing the BDI, as in how many number of questions does it have? 21. Is it closed or open ended? You're going to write it is closed ended because it has options ranging from 0 to 3. because these options have a numerical value. 21 questions. Two example questions again. If it is close ended, what do the scores mean? You can write these are the meaning of the scores. And apart from that, are there any sub skills? BDI does not have sub skills. Sub skills based questionnaires can be found out later on your other topics. Is the questionnaire qualitative or quantitative? Obviously, the BDI is giving you numerical value in the end, so it is gonna be a quantitative questionnaire, not qualitative. This is from your basically CIE marking scheme of the question that is going to ask you to describe the BDI. Describe the back depression inventory. It's gonna be always gonna be a 4 marks. You don't have to write all of this. Just write 4 characteristics. How many questions? How many version? Example questions. Meaning of the scores. Quantitative, qualitative. Just write 4 in your marking scheme. Obviously, everything, the entirety of it is written. You don't have to write all of this. You need to write only 4 features of the BDI to get 4 marks. 1 mark for 1 point for every single feature. BDI, back depression inventory, has 3 features. Version 1, version 3 versions, version 1, 2, 3. We're using the second version. Also, BDI has a kids version as well. What do I mean? See, this is for adults. Kids have different sort of depression, so their test is going to be slightly different than the adult version of BDI. Why is it a good thing? Because it means that BDI can also be applied to kids. Some tests cannot be applied to kids, so it's very limited. It's going to be remaining on the adult population, but as it can be applied to kids, it's more, I'm going to introduce a word now, it's more generalizable. So it gives you advantage that BDI can be applied on both age populations, young and old. Do you guys understand how to attempt questions asking you to describe a particular questionnaire? And these are the uh, things that you need to be attentive of whenever you guys are asked this question. Yes. All right, Ramla. Is there anything that's not understood up till now? 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and 4, 3, 2. How will we putting all the points together? All right, how will we putting all the points together? Uh, are you talking about the points of the BDI question? Are you talking about the scores or the answer points? All right, nice. How will the answer be structured? So basically, if you have this question, describe the Beck's depression inventory. You're gonna write the Beck depression inventory has 21 items or questions, whatever your choice of word is, 21 items, which are closed ended in nature, consisting of options scored from 0 to 3. Uh, Example questions include, let's suppose I write example question 1, example question 2, or how many features? Feature number 1, close ended. Feature number 2, score. Feature number 3, example question. Feature number 4, that's it, 4 features. So this is how you can structure your answer. You don't have to. All right, you will never write in points. You will always write into paragraphs. No points writing in A2 or AS psychology. Always write in paragraphs. No points, no bullet points. Is this clear? All right. Ramla, what about you? All right. So the thing is, right, in your paper three, I'm talking about past papers now. Paper three. Paper three. In paper three, you let me show you paper three. Variables, 2020, paper three. Yeah. And if you can remember the structure for paper three, it's gonna serve you well. All right, so paper three, uh, 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 60 marks. Same as AS, 90 minutes, 60 marks. Paper three, first section is your abnormal psychology. The third section is your health psychology. First section, right? Second section, consumer is not going to concern us. Third section is health psychology. So you're going to attempt question number 1, 2, 5, 6 in your paper three. 1, 2, 5, 6, nothing else. Only 1, 2, 5, 6. All right. So because we are talking about abnormal psychology, I'm going to only remain in this particular section. See, your question about describe the back depression inventory or any questionnaire that you're supposed to describe, whether it's health psychology, whether it's abnormal psychology, it's always gonna come in question number one, part B for abnormal psychology, question number five, part B in health psychology. If it's going to come, sometimes it doesn't come, but if it's going to come, it's gonna be in one part B for abnormal and one five part C, sorry, five part B in health psychology. Part B is describe the Beck's depression inventory. Let's suppose, and for this we write the answer that we just wrote here. Where is it? All right, maybe I removed it. Yeah. Let's suppose I wrote this answer for question number one, part B. Now, the thing I'm gonna tell you is very very essential. If one part B is about back depression inventory, one part C is always gonna be about what is one part B about. I'm gonna show you this. See, if one part B is about grant, one part C is also gonna be about grant. Same thing for abnormal psychology. Five part B is about, let's suppose, Tapper. Five part C also about Tapper. So five B and C are gonna question number B and C are always gonna be about the same thing. Now that's now what do I mean? See, five is always going to be describe. Describe. Tell me about the back depression inventory. Tell me about this. Tell me about that. Describe. Summarize. Give me details. Four details. 4 marks or four details about back depression inventory. C is gonna ask about evaluation. Is always gonna be two weakness, two strengths, or one weakness, one strength. So if your one part B is was about back depression inventory that you just described, one part C is gonna be tell me two strengths about back depression inventory, or tell me two weaknesses about back depression inventory, or it's gonna be one weakness, one strength about back depression inventory. It's always gonna be 2 points, two weaknesses, two strength, or one strength, one weakness. Every single point has 3 marks. It's not never gonna be more than three, right? So let's suppose in one part B, I got back depression inventory that I'm supposed to describe. One part C, uh, state two weaknesses of back depression inventory, or two strengths, or it can become as one strength, one weakness. Either one. It's going to be one from these three. All right, one weakness, two strength, two. Anyways, so if it comes as that, how are you supposed to tell a strength and weakness of a questionnaire? As in, how does it work? What is the strength and weakness of a questionnaire? See, and what I'm going to tell you now, the strength and weakness questionnaires. Whatever points I'm going to tell you now is going to be applicable for every single questionnaire that you're going to encounter in your A2, whether it's health psychology, whether it's abnormal psychology, it's going to be applicable for every single questionnaire. All right. So strength and weaknesses of a questionnaire. You're going to talk, or your answer is going to be based upon whether it's quantitative or qualitative data. You're going to look at that and talk about strengths and weaknesses in terms of what type of data does it give you. Number two, is it self-report? As in, is it done by the patient themselves or no? Self-report means it's done by themselves. As if you are a depressed person, if you solve the BDI yourself, it's self-report. Number three, uh, oh, what else? All right. Yeah, test, retest, reliability, concurrent, validity, uh, culture, bias, application, uh, is it cost, sorry, is it time consuming, is it cost effective, where is it cost effective, um, cost effective, time consuming, and one more would be, what was it? All right, yeah, that's it. So back depression inventory. All right, are you? All right, I want you to turn your mics on so you can. This is going to be a discussion part sort of activity. So the back depression inventory, is it going to be quantitative, qualitative?
Uh, Quantitative.
Quantitative. Strengths of quantitative, weakness of quantitative. What is it?
Okay, so for quantitative, we won't be having a depth into why the patient is feeling that way. We'll only have we only have that the person is feeling this way, but we won't have the reason behind it.
Nice, excellent. All right,
And for a quantitative, and for a strength, it would be that it's less time consuming to graph out, or like
analyze.
look for analyze, or like give a score according to, but we won't be able to give a score if it's qualitative, an
All
accurate
right,
score if it's qualitative. For quantitative, it's easier to assess it.
all right. Uh, self-report or not? Is it self-report or not? It's not self-report.
It's self-report.
So is it a good thing, bad thing?
It's both, I guess. Mostly because not most patient might meet, like they won't be honest about it. They'll
Hmm.
just like fill it randomly, like kind of like we just did. They
Hmm.
won't like. It's not necessarily that they would like read every single part of it.
Hmm.
And I guess uh, advantage of it would be that they'll be more confident in doing it, that they don't have to say the answers out loud or something.
Or anonymity,
Yeah.
privacy, confidentiality might be there. What you're saying is then them not being answering correctly or honestly, you can say it as a demand characteristics, right?
Yeah.
All right. Test retest. I'm gonna tell you afterwards. Concurrent. I'm gonna tell you afterwards. Uh, back depression inventory. Did I find it online for free?
Yes.
It's cost effective, right? All right. Do you think it
Yep.
is applicable? As in, do you see people using it in psychiatric, psychological setups? Does it have application? Can help people?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Is it time consuming or it's very, very short?
It's time. It's like a normal thing. It's like a simple questionnaire that you fill out. So I wouldn't say that it's time consuming.
All right. All right. Manal, Ramla,
Yeah.
you both, where, I don't know where you guys are from, but Does your country use kilograms or pounds?
It's kilo, I guess. I guess kilograms mostly over here.
All right. Uh, you, all right. Pounds mostly with where I live in are used for two things. How much does a cake weigh? I want 2 pound cake, or how much does a baby
Yeah.
weigh? Right? Nothing else uses
Yes.
pounds. But if I ask you on the BDI, how much weight did you lose? Let's go to weight loss. Where it's in pounds, right? Do we use pounds? No. So can you say item number 19, question 19 is culture bias? It's not from our culture.
Yes, but wouldn't that be modified for different cultures?
No.
Okay.
It will be
Then
modified into different languages. Units won't be changing.
okay.
It's gonna change to French, but not pounds. So it is culture bias. So that's it. That's a weakness. So all right, you can turn off your mic now, no problem. So that's how you have to look. But the thing is, uh, the way I got an answer right is what normally people answer, and they get a C grade on it. How do you get an A on this question? See, you said that it's gonna give me a quantitative data, but it won't go in depth into what people are feeling. Yes, that's fine. But isn't this statement or isn't this answer applicable to every single quantitative questionnaire out there? Yes, it is. So, what am I missing? I'm missing the ability to make my answer specifically designed for BDI. How do I do that? If I say this questionnaire doesn't tell me the causes behind a person's depression, but it only tells me how much depressed they are. Hence, it is very limiting because I would use the word depression. It's now very specific to BDI. So, therefore, I have connected my answer or specified my answer to the scenario that I'm given, and that will allow me to get me the final third mark for 1 point. If I leave it vague, don't connect it with the question itself, don't specify it, I'm gonna get, yeah, you have a question, ask it away. You're not gonna get all 3 marks. Yeah.
Okay, so I was saying that I just said what you asked, but if I was supposed to write it, I would obviously apply the application. So wouldn't that get me the marks?
Yep.
Because we're talking about BDIs over here, so I wouldn't say that it's a question year, so it's quantitative. I would obviously go into like the BDI depression, something like that. So that would get me the marks, right?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
All right. So from your AS, I don't know whether you guys have studied test, retest, or concurrent validity. I don't know if you have. I don't know if you did not. See, I have inks, and sometimes you will not find the answer to test, retest, or concurrent validity for some questionnaires. Sometimes you have to search online what is the test retest validity for BDI. Sometimes it's given, sometimes not. If it's given, I'm going to mention it here. Test retest reliability. See, if I do this BDI on you, right, I get the score 36. If I do it again, let's suppose 2 minutes afterwards, I'm supposed to get the score 36 or 34 or 35, not 40, not 20, somewhere around the score that I got originally. If I do the BDI again, and in a short span, if I do it again, and if I get the same score, then my test retest reliability is going to be high, meaning I'm going to get consistent responses. And if you say that back depression inventory has high test retest reliability, but if you don't mention the test retest value, that's 0.93, you're not going to get full marks. So you should mention 0.93 if you're going to use the word test retest reliability. Again, test retest reliability, what is it? If I give you the test one time, if I give you the test second time, you should get the same score or around the same score. Your scores should not fluctuate. If it does, this test is not reliable. That's test retest reliability. What is concurrent validity? Concurrent validity score is not given here, but I'm going to explain you in general what does concurrent validity means. See, there are multiple tests out there for depression. BDI is not the only one test. There are multiple tests. Now, let's suppose I do a back depression test on you. You get the score 36. Turns out you're severely depressed. All right, fine. Let's suppose I do some other test of depression on you. Question: should the two test, one back depression inventory and the other XYZ test, show that you have severe depression in both of the tests? The answer is yes, it should happen. So if your scores match the other test's answers, it means that it is concurrent valid. But if your answer does not match what the other test is telling me, it means that there's a discrepancy and concurrent validity will not apply. Think of it this way: you do a blood test, right? You do a blood test, again, same results. That's test retest reliability. You do a blood test and you do another test, but sometimes, see, sometimes our platelets can be picked up in our blood test, and sometimes platelets can be picked up in another test if you're going for malaria. But both of the tests are gonna pick platelets. Both are different, but sometimes measure the same thing differently. Should the both of the tests give you same sort of result? As if your platelets are low in the blood test, in the malaria test, should your platelets be low as well? The answer is yes. If it yes, is concurrent validity. Different tests showing same results. Concurrent validity. Same test showing same results. Test retest liability. Every single point that we have discussed so far, is it understood?